Now, we've got a few Christmas messages to look at, okay? There's a few Christmas messages. So, Zia Yusuf, I think, is our first one. Zia Yusuf put out... It's more of a Boxing Day message. It's the most recent one. But he put out this video just today. Walking through Westminster. I thought this was quite interesting. I thought the angle he takes here is kind of interesting.
Can you name the most infamous people smuggling gang ever? It's not these guys, and it's not these guys. It's these guys, the last Tory government. They smuggled in tens of thousands of Afghans into the United Kingdom. They spent billions of pounds of your money to pay for it. They took out a super injunction to keep the whole thing secret and prevent you from knowing about it. And here's the worst part. The plane loads of Afghan men that the Tories smuggled in included men who had been kicked out of the Afghan army for sex offences. And the Tory government knew that. They knowingly smuggled in known sex offenders into this country at your expense and kept it a secret from you.
Yeah, the voice sounds AI at some
Afghans
points.
are 22 times more likely to commit sex offences in this country than British nationals. And yet the 24,000 Afghans that they smuggled in weren't even vetted. No wonder they used your money to cover it all up. Rishi Sunak called an early general election shortly after learning the super injunction was about to be lifted, and you were going to learn the truth. Now, you probably remember the Tories were booted out of office.
So this is like mostly true, right? Obviously, the presentation's a little bit, like they smuggled in, like he's using some very, loaded, almost deceptive language. But broadly true.
Slide. But just imagine if the British public had known about this. It's clear that the remaining Tory MPs owe their MP salary to the greatest betrayal of the British people in modern times. The Tories deserve electoral extinction. Come and help us deliver it to them. Go to reformparty.uk and join us.
So, the big problem with this, obviously as Polly pointed out a second ago, is Reform have been courting Tory defections non-stop. They want Jenrick on their team. Those Tory MPs that did that are going to be the Reform MPs that people are electing in the next general election. So, bizarre, first of all. Like, I guess the hope is people just see the brand name change and they're like, oh, well, it's fine. But the other thing that's happening here is it's very clear. Reform are down 3% this week in the polls. Labour and the Conservatives are up 2% each. It is pretty clear to me that Reform have capped. The 30% cap that everyone was saying Reform had, I think is playing out. I think that is just totally playing out. That has turned out to be totally true. I think without a big, mass politicization, pushing people towards that side thing in the next few years, I don't think they will go above 30%. So a lot of it's down to Farage, basically. A lot of it is, I don't know that it's hard to get past that because it is down to Farage. He is so unpopular with a huge amount of people that would just never vote for him. So I think 30%, honestly, I think the cap is real. The cap is real. But obviously they've started bleeding to the Tories again. So they've not only capped at 30, but Kemi Badenoch's actually been doing quite a good job of being an opposition leader over the last month, 2 months. Certainly way better than she did for the start of her leadership. Had some really good performances, even if you hate them. I didn't like her response to the budget, and obviously she cheated completely because the budget got leaked 40 minutes in advance. So she got a total, heads up that no other opposition leader has ever gotten. But undeniably it worked. It was effective. So I think the fighting is going to it's just going to get more brutal between Reform and the Conservatives over the next couple of years. And honestly, I hate to say it, I'm at a point now where I'm like, I don't care if the Tories get in. I don't care if the Tories get in, as long as it's not Reform. And I've seen other people say that too. I'm just happy to see. I don't like Kemi Badenoch. I don't like the Tories. But I'm happy to see a more centre ground party performing well. That's positive to me. I'm like, okay, cool. If Kemi can make the Tories perform well at the moment, good job. Cool. Well done. But yeah, exactly. Tragic state of affairs. That is where we're at. That is where we're at. So this is a post that I've seen Drew Pavlo and Hugh Anthony both fall for. Let's take a look at this. There's another Christmas message here. Okay. Both Hugh Anthony and Andrew Pavlo have fallen for this.
But correct me if I'm wrong, but everything being closed on Christmas Day has to be racist. It's one thing, the shops being closed. It's another, the transport being closed. I can't travel anywhere. On top of that, imagine if shops opened so all of the Muslim people and the non-celebrating people could take the shifts. The government is so inconsiderate of what other people might want. They're only focused on a small majority of people who celebrate Christmas. Obviously, everyone who's celebrating, I hope you enjoy that. But I heard Dee's Kitchen is open. I can't even travel to Dee's Kitchen because I don't drive. Obviously, I'm getting my license so someone allow me in it. But I can't even get the train there. So what do you want me to do? Walk to Dee's Kitchen? That's like an hour. I'm not walking an hour. The government, Rishi Sunak, please take into consideration other people's thoughts and feelings. This is so racist of you. I feel like you're racist. I don't know. This is my opinion, though. Don't shoot the messenger.
So they're posting this, like, foreigner complaining about Christmas being racist because everything is closed. The airports are open. How do you get a plane back home? Somali migrant to Britain complains that Christmas is racist. Just absurd. So absurd, just like getting totally baited by this fucking retarded Somalian sixth former. Now, our final Christmas message. I'm not looking at the King's one because honestly, it's boring. TLDR. Charlie says diversity is our strength. Okay, that's the TLDR. What we do want to see is Zach's one. So Zach Polanski chose to release his own Christmas message at the same time as the King's one was airing. Now, unfortunately for Zach, I feel like maybe he was hoping the King was going to say something right-wing or something, that this was going to be like some serious alternative. But the King said diversity is our strength too, so I feel like his thunder's kind of stolen by the fact that, you know, the King basically had the same message.
Ferry coming back from Calais, about 50 of these journeys.
She's been in Calais
every single day. Waved my passport and through I went. I'm really aware, though, I've spent the last few days with lots of people who do not have that privilege. And they're trying to make this crossing because they literally have no other choice. The images and video you're about to see won't center the voices of the people who I've met, and that's for deliberate reason, to preserve their dignity. But I do want you to see some of what I've witnessed over the last few days through my eyes. I'm telling this story on Christmas Day for a reason. So often I ask you to like and share videos, and I appreciate it.
I think that's cope. It won't center their voices to preserve their dignity. I think that's cope. I think you just want to do your Christmas speech. I think that's a lie.
But Christmas Day is a day when most people, not everyone, are around other people. So gather around, because there's a story you need to hear about what's happening in Calais. And it's the complete opposite to the misinformation and lies we are fed every single day.
People often say that France is a safe country, and sure, if you're a British citizen going on holiday to Nice, I'm sure it's lovely. Calais is not a safe place. So,
okay. Does he understand what's meant by, like, safe country? Like, it's about countries where you're not at risk of war or, like, unjust persecution, right? That's what a safe country... So in France, they don't have, like, anti-Muslim laws. They don't have, like, hunting Muslim laws. And there's not a war in France. So it's a safe country for these people to go to. Regardless of whether you think they're treated nicely when they're setting up tents, they might get those. True. But regardless of whether you think they're getting treated nicely when they set up their tents, it's a safe country by any international standard. Obviously, you have to have a standard for, like, to say, oh, well, it's not really safe, is it? Well, it is. It is, actually, Zach.
some of the things I've seen over the last few days will stick with me for a long time. I want to talk to you about wood. People need wood when they're sleeping outside. They need to burn it for heat and make sure that they're drying their clothes in waterlogged conditions. But there isn't enough wood in Calais, and so volunteers spend hours and hours sourcing pallets, chopping them up, and then distributing to the people who are in need. But then you have the police who come along every 48 hours without warning. They slash people's tents, they evict people from the sites, and they take their wood. The people watch, they stand aside for 10-15 minutes, and then they return to the same site. This time though, it's even more decimated, and again, there is no wood. They spend their time rebuilding, looking for more wood, they eventually get it, and the police come round.
Like, yeah, I don't disagree that this is like essentially redundant activity that doesn't solve the problem. That's obviously true. But I don't think Zach's got good solutions either. Like, this is ultimately something that you have to work with the French to solve. The French police are going to have to be involved, and they are going to have to make arrests.
Wood. They spend their time rebuilding, looking for more wood. They eventually get it, and the police come round again. It is a farcical, deadly cycle that everyone is involved with, and we're funding it. The UK government is giving £476 million over a 3-year deal for the militarisation and securitisation of Calais. We should be diverting that money to a humanitarian and compassionate response. Because the rhetoric we hear about stopping the boats and smashing the gangs, none of this is working. In fact, there's evidence that this whole performative cruelty is actually pushing up the price of boat crossings, and we know that the boat crossings are rising. People told me over and over again, we cannot stay in Calais and we're not allowed to leave.
Okay.
So why did
but if the price of the boat crossings wasn't going up, would the amount of crossings be rising faster? I thought that's got to be true. Like, you can say you're sort of fudging the numbers when you say, oh well, the price is going up and the numbers are still going up. Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean that there isn't an effect on how quickly it's rising.
I asked you to gather around and to hear this, because this has to stop. The constant political rhetoric and demonization of people who are just trying to survive in unimaginable living conditions. I don't believe that we're the country that the media paint us to be. I don't believe that we're cruel and we're heartless. And I don't believe if people saw what I've seen over the last few days, they would turn away.
I realise some of this can be...
Literally, everyone's already seen this, Zach. The mainstream media tried this for like 10 years.
An unusual Christmas Day message, but actually at the heart of all of it is compassion, kindness, and humanity. And whether you're religious or not, I think that's something we can all do more of in 2026. Really want to give a shout out to Calais Appeal and all the volunteers and staff who do incredible work. You will see the crowdfunder attached to this video. Whatever you're doing today, Merry Christmas.
But everyone has just already seen what goes on in Calais, man. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think you're changing anyone's mind with this. I think this makes lefties, like bleeding heart lefties, feel really good. And like, oh yeah, it's so sad for those refugees. I don't think you change anyone's mind with a video like this. Everyone's already seen it, bro. I also saw this. Zara Sultana had a Christmas video.
It's time. مالي حلال Christmas to everyone. Jingle حلال. يلا. All I want for حلال Christmas is you. You and you and you. Jingle حلال. يلا. Jingle حلال. It's time.
Great stuff, Zara. Great stuff there. Great stuff there. Really awesome stuff. I guess on the same topic, kinda. Apparently, there were pro-Palestine protesters in Westfields talking about the hunger strikes. Apparently, the Palestine Action people are doing hunger strikes in prison right now, pretty close to death or some shit. I don't care about hunger strikes. They're choosing to do it. No, I think I kind of care about hunger strikes. It's a form of protest where, you know, you're putting something on the line. I can respect that a bit. There's this too. There's the Andrew Tate dancing like a nonce video. Like what? Like nonces, they are literally nonces. I mean, yeah. I mean, alleged, we'll say. Okay. So yeah, that's the Christmas news. Awesome Christmas news.